Bonnell Media reporting here live from South by Southwest in downtown Austin, top of the Hilton. And we've got a very special guest with us today.
Hi, I'm Ethan Mayers. I'm a serial entrepreneur.
And you do much else besides?
I do world traveling, I do cycling, I do all sorts of things.
And Ethan, how many South bys have you been at?
This is actually my first, so I was invited as a mentor, and this is my first South by.
And how are you finding it?
You know, it's amazing. First of all, the buzz of the energy, and the word I think that's been coming up for the entire week that I've been here is serendipity. So I'll just give a complete just story, and this is exactly what happens at South by. So I'm walking down 6th Street just a few hours ago, and there's a store, and I just randomly walk in, and apparently it was a private event, but they said it's the end, it's okay, you can come in. So I go in, and I just randomly, some guy starts talking to me, and my brother happens to be a fighter pilot, and because of that I got connected into military defensive ecosystems. And there's this great organization called the Defense Entrepreneurs Forum that about 4 or 5 years ago I got involved. But this is like a side thing, right? And so the guy says, oh, someone from the Defense Entrepreneur Forum happens to be here right over there. So I sit down, turns out we have 30 connections in common. I wasn't even supposed to be there, and that's what South by is. It's this place to come together. And also, last night I'm sitting there and we're having an amazing conversation while watching a guy tap dance, and we're talking about how do you present information in meaningful and accurate ways to eliminate bias and really be able to communicate. And we're talking about, we had a whole conversation about the form of storytelling, which I don't know if you're, sure. So that, and that was just a street corner watching tap dancing. So that's what South by is about.
Excellent. So what's the best thing about Austin for you?
Well, it was really cold when I left, so part of it's the weather, to be honest.
It's starting to get cold again, though. You brought the New York weather with you.
I'd be in T-shirts right now. This is not cold. This is fantastic. And I'm staying down in a house on South Congress, so I've been biking to and from. So I love the accessibility of the city. I love the vibe. And, I'm an amateur, super bad musician, but I appreciate music in all of its forms. And it's great to be in the live music capital of the world.
Do you find that you become even more creative when you're in this milieu?
That's an interesting question. I think it's more, you never know who you're going to meet. And because of that, it's activating like different sides of your brains. For instance, the story I just told you, I was talking about the military ecosystem, and then I was talking to an accelerator connecting tech to government. And then last night I was talking to somebody from Capital One, and they were talking about how the corporate values, we had a big conversation. And then I've spent a lot of time, a big theme for me this whole week has been short-termism and the effect of short-term thinking, companies that operate by the quarter versus building long-term sustainable growth. So you literally turn the corner and you're changing conversations quickly. So that's what's interesting. Do I find myself more creative? I find myself more inspired, not necessarily creative. I think that's two different things. Yeah. I think creativity is when you are born an idea that you then can be able to execute, whereas more, I'm inspired to do more. I'm inspired to give back more. I'm inspired to connect more. I'm inspired to say, it shouldn't be just once a year that we all get together. How am I going to activate my network even more to make these kind of serendipity connections happen?
Yes, I was just asking, that sounds wonderful. I think we share the same, experience. So I was just wondering, what are you most looking forward to for the time, you will be here?
Well, I went kayaking yesterday, so that was pretty awesome. No, it's just those connections. I consider it it's a moment that we can step out of time of our day-to-day lives. I had to do some work, but for the most part, I've been focused on being here and focused on being present and not being on the phone and not being focused on that and asking some of the big questions. That's what I've really loved more. I've been fascinated for the last couple of years about asking yourself, especially as an entrepreneur, is this really what I'm supposed to be here on Earth? I think a lot about you have skills and you have talents and the world has problems, and are you correctly applying your skills and your talents to the problems? So at an event like this, you get to step out of your daily routines and just have all these conversations and be exposed. I was on the line down there at the registration village, just randomly online, and I met an MGM executive who sources films, and I don't know anything about that industry. And for 10 minutes, I just was able to ask him, how do you source films? How does that work? And he was just giving me a full download. Wow. That's what makes this so amazing.
Ethan, this talk has been inspiring to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.